Hi, welcome everyone to episode 91 of Box News, taking on the road today to talk about Fight Night Champion.
Welcome to Box News. Welcome to Box News. Welcome to Box News.
This is the fifth installment in the Fight Night series, and it's brought to you by EA Sports. Get in the game. Unfortunately, this was a game that I had a hard time getting into. Not off the bat, but really keeping consistent gameplay and interest was the difficult task. It starts out rather different than any other game, especially for a sports game. It starts you off with a scenario where you are pitted as being basically knocked out in a prison boxing match, and you have to get up and then fight back and win it. And then it unravels the story, asking you to continue championship mode. Basically, the story is about a character who is in prison, and you learn out how he got there throughout the story of the game. Basically, he was set up by the owner of the boxing organization, and now you're trying to fight your way and make your comeback. And that's what the story is all about. I don't want to give any spoilers away other than everything that I've just given so far. Well, I don't want to give anything else away. But that's the gist of the game. It puts you in different scenarios. One of them that was really aggravating to me was you start out the fight in the second round. In the first round, you broke your right hand. So all you can do is do left jabs. Come on. Motherfucker. Left jab. Left. Come on. This game's stupid. And if you know anything about boxing, a guy is going to figure out that all you're throwing is left jabs. And eventually he's just going to block every punch. Therefore, you can't really do anything because if you throw right, you hurt yourself eventually, leading up to your health depleting and losing the fight. So it's a very frustrating thing. Some of them is headbutts, some of them are uppercuts. It's just kind of like basically Mike Tyson's punch out. Each character has their own certain specialty to them. You have to figure it out, although the cornermen tell you what they're going to do. So it's kind of a silly game. I would have rather just had straight up boxing and just go through tournament brackets and a decent story rather than scenarios. So that's a game that I put a lot of time into. But it just left me kind of wanting something different out of the game. I'm more into MMA than I am into boxing, so this one just kind of, it just didn't keep me interested. But if you like boxing, then this game will probably be for you. There's a lot of big names and a lot of people you'd recognize from the people of the past and the present. Tommy from the Rocky movies, he was actually a legitimate boxer. Not a lot of people know that, but he was in this game as well. The one person that they are missing that's probably unlockable or downloadable is Floyd Mayweather. I didn't get him, however, but he's probably one of the characters that you can get. But yeah, this is basically, to describe this game best, would be like describing a model at the beauty pageants. Great to look at, but something is missing. It's not all there. And in this game, that's the mechanics, the combat. It's basically the fighting mechanics are not all there. So it's a game that I wouldn't really recommend to you unless you're a huge fan of boxing. So that's really it. I just want to thank you for checking out my review of Fight Night Champion, or 5 if you will. Stay tuned for more episodes of Box News. It's probably one of the dumbest angles for a fucking review. It's like, seriously, who reviews driving down the road in their fucking car? This is stupid. This dude gets paid to drive around in his car and talk about video games. I mean, you can't even see me. This is stupid. Now apparently I'm at McDonald's. Wow. Like, hi, welcome to Box News. Let's talk about some video games, guys. Hey, this could be a good angle. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to UFC on Fox.
Velasquez versus Dos Santos. This is the fight we've all been waiting for. It's definitely the biggest fight in the UFC's recent history. To me and new and old fans, I would hope you feel the same. This is UFC's first fight on broadcast on Fox Live, and it's also coinciding with their 18th year anniversary. Little information about that. UFC started in '93. The first event was basically tournament style. If you won, you went on to the next fight the same night. And if you won again, you go on to another fight. And I believe it was 8 men in a bracket style playoff kind of fight. And so back then, to become a UFC champion, you'd win the tournament. Royce Gracie winning the very first one, winning 3 fights in a row. And that's pretty BA if you ask me. And then we've evolved to having rules and titles, weight classes, and basically an organized sport after all their ups and downs, the bankruptcies, and everything else that has happened with the sport. But now, not to bore you with a little history lesson, I'm going to talk about Velasquez versus Dos Santos. Since there are no other cards on this fight, which I'm very disappointed by, well, there are, but it's not being broadcast. It's not live at all. Though the heavyweight title fight is live, but the rest of the card is not. With that being said, the most disappointing thing to me would have to be that they're not airing the Ben Henderson and Clay Guida #1 contender fight. If you know anything about either of these fighters, they both put on very exciting fights, and they definitely deserve to be aired on television and get their presence known, especially if it's a #1 contendership. UFC has stated they will be airing this on another date, obviously not live, but you will be able to eventually see this fight, but I would really like to see it live. It guarantees a title shot against Frankie Edgar, but we all know very well how guaranteed title shots work, hence the Carlos Condit, Nick Diaz, GSP kind of drama. So, yeah. If you know anything about that situation, you probably all feel the same. But let's get into information on the card and, well, the heavyweight title fight. Starting off with the champion, the heavyweight champion, Cain Velasquez. 1 year ago, he defeated Brock Lesnar to become the champion. I was very sad at that moment. I'm a big Brock Lesnar fan. Some information about him since. He went on to be injured, basically. He got injured in that fight against Brock. He had a torn rotator cuff and has been sidelined since, so he has not fought in over a year, which gives an advantage point to Dos Santos, possibly. Cain Velasquez is 6'1". He's 249 pounds, and he's 29 years old. He has a 77-inch reach, which is very close to Junior Dos Santos being 6'4". So Dos Santos has the height advantage. He's 239 pounds, 77-inch reach, identical, and he's 27 years old. So very close in age. Dos Santos has the height advantage, and Velasquez has the weight advantage. So you kind of go back and forth, either or have advantages with one another. Velasquez has a 9-0 MMA record. He has never been defeated in his professional career, and 8 of his wins have been by knockout or technical knockout, and 1 was by decision with Chet Congo. He has a 7-0 UFC record, so only 2 of his fights were not professional. Well, they were all professional, but only 2 of his fights not in the UFC, the biggest organization. Some of the big names he's defeated, Nogueira, Congo, and recently to obtain the title, Brock Lesnar. And he defeated him in such a disgustingly good fashion. But we all know what happened to Lesnar. He had diverticulitis, and he was sidelined with that. Isn't an excuse, possibly. We don't know. But we will see more of Lesnar upcoming December 30th against Alistair Overeem. But more on that on another day. Let's get into a little information now on Junior Dos Santos. I told you his weight information, height, and all that. He is 13-1 in an MMA professional career. His only loss was by a submission, which was due to armbar. He is 7-0 as well, same as Velasquez in the UFC. So they both have never been defeated in the UFC. This is the first time that we've had that in a heavyweight title fight. 2 people, 7-0. One's champion. One's going to walk out a loser. One's going to walk out a champion. So this is a really big deal. Some of the big names Junior Dos Santos has defeated include Shane Carwin, Roy Nelson, Gabriel Gonzaga, Mirko Krokop, and Stefan Struve. However, his last 2 wins, they only say you're as good as your last fight. His last 2 wins came by decision, which some view that as kind of being lackluster, boring, or some people say it's smart. You take your time, you don't want to get injured, you don't take too many risks, and you just, pull out all the stops and you win the fight. So, could this fight go all 5 rounds? I don't think so. My thoughts is going to end in the 2nd round by, if Dos Santos wins, it's probably going to take him down to the ground and submit Velasquez. I see that happening. Or if Velasquez wins, it's obviously going to be a knockout punch, dropping Dos Santos in the 2nd round. Either way, this fight will go no more than 2 rounds. And that's a huge loss to Fox and anyone else, including the UFC, trying to make their presence known, giving you about a 15-minute broadcast when they have an hour block to do so. So hopefully they'll change their tune and give you more material than they were going to give with just the one fight being broadcast live. Breakdown of Dos Santos wins, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions, and 2 decisions. So his last 2 obviously being the decisions. Who knows? This fight could go any way, but I'm picking Dos Santos to win this just because he has a well-rounded fight career. He's a good, knockout fighter. He's also a good submitter, technical. He can take you to the ground. He can stand up with you, and he has a good chin. So we'll see what he can do, and I hope you all tune in tonight to watch the biggest fight of your life, the Cain Velasquez Junior Dos Santos Heavyweight Title Championship, live on Fox. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the fight.
What's up, everyone? It's Travis from Box News. Just wanted to wish everyone happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. And I want to do so with a couple songs for you. I hope you enjoy them. Well, I hope you enjoyed that song, and I got one last one for you before I go, and here it is. Alright, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a happy and safe holiday, and make sure you subscribe and make my Christmas come true with a new subscription of Fox News. Take care.
Go Box News.
Box News.
All right, it's been a while since you've seen me. Yes, I'm still alive out there. Got a huge announcement for everyone today. It's about Box News and the future of it. Unfortunately, at this time, I have to announce that I'm walking away from Box News, resigning. Just altogether, I guess, Box News is finished. It's no more. It's gone. Bye. Good night. I decided to stop the show just basically because I got tired of the format that it was in. I got tired of just kind of the same kind of thing. I'm not necessarily done doing reviews. Box News is finished. But sorry if you guys are like, no, it's we're still gonna do video game stuff. My channel is gonna still be on. I'm gonna be still releasing all kinds of content. And it's just not going to be Box News. Episode 91 was it for me. I'm not going to continue. Don't get mad. But at this time, I would like to announce the new show that I am starting. It's going to be a whole new format, whole new thing, and it's going to be called Sessions. And what that will entail will be every week, every Monday night, will be a new video of the weeks prior, the gaming sessions I had. Just talking about industry news, excited things, just some games that I'm playing, old, new, doesn't matter. I'm no longer going to structure an episode on one game. Like, for example, I'm not going to do a whole episode on Gears of War or whatever. It's going to be about whatever I'm playing. Could be Gears of War, could be talking about the new maps, could be talking about something really cool about it, some hard achievement. And then you can share your thoughts and insights on what I'm doing and what you would change or anything like that. And it's called Sessions, and it will premiere the day after the Super Bowl. So February 6th, I think. Yeah, February 6th. So stay posted. February 6th will be the first episode of Sessions. They won't be numbered episodes. They'll just be cleverly titled, maybe. But that's the future of Box News. It's now becoming Sessions, and the numbers are done. And thank you all for being a part of Box News. All the people who have been a part of any of the episodes, who have watched, subscribed because of it. Like I said, it's not going away. New format, Sessions. And just stay tuned. February 6th, you'll see what Sessions is all about. Pretty excited to debut this. And if you're interested in becoming involved, just message me, subscribe. But thanks. That's my huge announcement regarding Box News and the future of my YouTube account. Nothing's really changing. Just new format, upgraded effects, editing. More improved, professional, fun entertainment rather than a boring sit down.
And I thought of this game like it was so cool.
Yeah, none of that garbage. So it's going to be a bunch of people getting together. Well, probably 3 because I only have a few friends. And discussing games and playing games and doing things and cleverly edited, again, with the cleverly stuff. Yeah, you gotta stop with the clever usage of word. So, enough from me, and subscribe and stay posted and share this with your friends if they're interested. Thank you for watching.
Charlie is now under our control. We have taken objective Alpha. I now show objective Bravo is neutralized.
They're back at the line after that catch for a first down. Tom Brady unleashes the long pass. Touchdown of this drive. 3rd and goal from the 9. Throws it in the end zone. Touchdown. Up that defensive front. 1st and goal. Bush has got. Lions are in for the hurry to get the snap. Play action. Stands in the pocket. Makes the catch.
Bad is it? You just never know.
Toss to the outside. It's getting ugly out here.
Our men need your support. Hold the line, man! Hold!
What's that, Xbox One? You can record videos and edit them? Ooh, have I got news for you guys. So I just got done recording my 92nd episode of Box News. It has been since October of 2011. We're almost at 3 years since I've recorded an episode. So this marks the grand return finally of Box News. And I am uploading right now my review on Watch Dogs. And I just wanted to give a shout out to anyone who has ever watched any of my videos or supported me. And I hope you're anxious to watch my return and to see what's going to happen in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, welcome everyone to the return of Box News. For those who watched me years ago, thank you and I'm sorry. There was a lot of garbage I put out and a lot of good stuff I put out. So if you supported me throughout this whole thing, thank you. It has been since roughly October 2011 since I posted a video, and I wanted to make a out of nowhere return, and I'm doing such. So today I would like to have you join me and check out my Watch Dogs review. As you can see, I have clips going on of some of my random experiences that I've captured with my game DVR on the Xbox One. This no means showcases the best of the game, but it also doesn't show the worst. It's just random clips to kind of show you what I've been doing. So you take control of the character who is a hacker, Aiden Pierce, and basically the main story, without spoiling it, you are trying to get back your nephew / sister because of what happened. People are coming after you, and what happened was your niece was killed in an unfortunate accident. This happens as the story starts, so I'm not spoiling anything. If you spent 5 minutes in the game, you would know this. So you're a hacker. Your abilities are to hack things. As you can see here, I've been able to manipulate different things, and that is the majority of the fun in the game. It's an open world sandbox game, much as you see the map there, and you get to explore and do missions much like GTA. So if you're comparing it to anything, I would compare it to Grand Theft Auto, a sandbox game. So that being said, what are the things I liked about it? I liked the hacking, I liked the open world, I liked the free roam abilities, so I had complete control, and the city of Chicago is spot on for the most part, minus Soldier Field and the Shed Aquarium. Bummer on that. The things I hated, well, driving mechanics. No one can seem to get this right. While Grand Theft Auto comes close, and everyone is going to compare this game to Grand Theft Auto, it's unfortunate. But when you enter this genre, somebody who has controlled it is going to be compared to easily. So, I didn't like the driving mechanics. It handles like a boat, it drifts horribly, and trying to escape the police because of bad driving mechanics is difficult. Very difficult. It's something you get better at when you upgrade your hacking skills to control the street lights, the water mains, and so on, the different things to block them. So with that being said, I did like the upgrades to the hacking, but I didn't like the driving. It's something that you can overlook. Running everywhere in the game actually is not a bad thing. It allows you to hack on the fly and thus getting money and unlocking other content on the fly. It's just when having to traverse long distances, driving a car kinda sucked. But they introduced a fast travel system. So once you unlock the city, or you unlock it, get the C2S towers, and blah, 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 you get different home bases, and you can fast travel between them. So overall, I would say those are the things I would highlight out of this game. I highly recommend it. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Solid playthrough, a possibly must own, and it's just something that if you have an Xbox One or PS4, it's really going to showcase the physics, the graphics, and just the particles that are on screen. PS3, 360 owners, I haven't had a chance to play it on there, but I have seen footage. I'm sorry, it is kind of slimmed down. So if you have a PS4 or Xbox One, highly recommend it. And I hope you enjoyed my quick review of Watch Dogs. I'll be posting random clips, for the next week or so on this. And then stay tuned. I'm going to have more episodes. I'm going to try my best to pump some more out. So thank you again for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And sorry for 2.5 years gap, but I will be posting more content. So thank you so much for watching Fox News.
There's so much I wish I could explain to you. Sorry about all this, Jax. I know it's not easy.
Welcome everyone to episode 93 of Box News. I'm back with a sports game this time, EA Sports UFC. They're bringing you the latest UFC game as THQ went bankrupt, and now EA is taking over the franchise. Funny story about that. I'm sure you could look up the history. UFC and EA didn't originally want to work together. There were some complications, but look that one up. That's really interesting. I don't have a lot of time today. So, UFC. I love MMA. I love the sport of mixed martial arts. It is entertaining, always fun to watch, always such an adrenaline rush. Just as a spectator, I can only imagine what it would be like to be a fighter in there. Give you a rundown on some history of the game. So, EA is known for making sports games. Are they always good? No. Are they always bad? No. This one, unfortunately, was not their best outing as far as the sports game goes. Visually, amazing. EA never ceases to amaze me with their visuals. Always visually good, for the most part. So, EA, from a first look, very impressive. It's something that is really engaging and you want to play. You're very interested in. But as far as the game mechanics itself, that's where it begins to fall apart. And why I was initially worried with this, because they were the ones that developed Fight Night Champion, I did not like that game at all. You saw my review on that. I did a review a couple years ago on that one. I didn't like it, and I was very apprehensive about this game. And my skepticism was pretty much spot on with how I thought the game would turn out. So, overall, I was not impressed with the game, and now I'm going to dive into my reasoning why this was a lackluster game. And now here is my final thoughts on this. Alright, so I'm going to have to give EA Sports UFC a final grade of 6 out of 10, and my reasons why. Basically, the game can be summed up into 3 separate categories. You have your matchmaking, which is your online stuff, and you just basically fight people online. There isn't much depth as far as season modes go, and franchising, and camps or training or anything like that, so they definitely stepped it back. The other reason is you can do just basic exhibition matches, so play your friends like an arcade fighter, which is fun and all, but it gets boring rather quickly. And with a lackluster roster, you run out of unique matchups. Will they be releasing more, fighters later? Probably. But out of the gate, it's not that big as far as roster goes. You're missing a good chunk of talent, including a recently crowned champion, TJ Dillashaw, who didn't even make the cut of the game. And lastly, you have basic career mode, which allows you to do 3 training sessions and then fight. You don't get to select much other than that. You don't get to choose your fights. The only thing I found unique in that is you progress from the Ultimate Fighter tournament onto your career. And if you take significant damage throughout your career, you then be forced to retire, which is very similar to a real fighter. So the lack of depth in that is very big part of why this game is receiving a 6 out of 10. There's just not much to it. While it's pretty to look at, the controls become clunky, the frame rate drops, and other problems occur. If they patch this game, it's great. Until then, you get a 6 out of 10.
All right, welcome everyone to my latest episode of Box News. I have a special guest. Do you want to say your name, or do you just want to say your gamer tag for everyone?
My gamer tag is Stinky Pompous.
All right, I'll put that on the screen now, so if you would like, you can add him. He'll choose whether or not to accept.
I've only got like 4 slots open, so...
Yeah. So today we're going to discuss the game that we played recently called Wolfenstein: The New Order. It was released on the Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, and PS4.
Yes.
No other platforms. No Wii U release.
No
Okay.
Wii U release. And I don't believe PC either.
No PC. That's a bummer because that's kind of the stable. Yeah, that's the big PC title from back in the day.
I think it would have been rather good on PC from what I've seen.
Right.
Maybe a little better than console.
Right. So that's kind of funny. You know, one of the greatest PC games of all time, right? Wolfenstein.
Was not reissued on PC.
So that's really strange. Let's get kind of started on the background of the story. Tell me, like, who are you in the game, and what is this new take on Wolfenstein? Is it a brand new story? Is it relevant to the old one? What's going on in this game?
The old one was a little more, as I'm sure everybody knows, it was grainy. It was that, 16-bit put together Germans. They would, it was just the old style of playing. There wasn't really a huge story behind it, but you were still B.J. Blazkowicz, and you were an agent who would go in for the U.S. government, CIA, I think it was, and you would infiltrate the Germans and then kill Hitler was the whole goal.
Okay.
In the new one, it's a little bit different because there's more of a background to it. You have more of a background on his life. You actually sit through 14 years in an insane asylum while being taken care of, and it's just an interesting story. The gameplay is much more evolved, in my opinion. I still prefer the original one just because it's the original. The gameplay is classic, I should say.
Right.
Which is where they brought it in, and we'll talk about that later in the Nightmare, which I still think is cool that they kept that. Easily one of my favorite things.
So I played the game, the original PC release back in the day. I didn't know that was the same character, so that's rather cool. But I guess when I played it, I was very young. I haven't played it recently, and I don't remember a lot from the game. I mean, the throwback stage, what you mentioned, the Nightmare mode, was just the kind of little bonus for hardcore fans. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool, and it brought me back to being a kid and playing, a shooter, much like the Doom era, the Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up on, which is funny because the bonus in this game, if you purchased it, you got the Doom beta code. I guess they're making a new Doom.
Yeah, they are.
That'll be a
that
story
releases in like a month here, I think.
Okay, so the beta is launching.
Yeah.
So, we got tap dancers.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, I thought that was really cool. So, I guess give me a breakdown on your thoughts as you played through the game. Your emotions. Like, did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Why did you enjoy it? Why did you hate it? Like, what was the best part of the game?
I did enjoy the game for the first probably hour and a half that I played it, up until right after I get out of the insane asylum.
Okay.
I really liked, one of my favorite things besides the Nightmare was the fact that they had 2 generations of weapons in the games. I thought that was really something that not a lot of games do, where they split it up into 2 different generations that act very different from each other.
Right.
One of the things that I thought was really cool that they did was you can dual wield anything in the entire game. Dual wield knives, dual wield submachine guns, everything, even shotguns, which was awesome.
That was truly awesome.
And they're accurate. I mean, it's not like you're spraying everywhere. It was pretty dead on. But I thought the storyline was more enveloped than a lot of other games that I've played recently. Granted, it's not the most entertaining storyline, but me being a history buff, I kind of like the idea of playing as a person after the Nazis won the war,
right? An
and still
alternate
continuing
history.
on, right? An alternate history. I thought that was really interesting. As far as not playing in 1946 very long, I mean, you crash the plane, you infiltrate the castle, and then you run into Dr. Death's Head.
Right. They kind of give you an origin story, a tutorial almost. If
right.
You will.
It was a prologue basically to the game. It was a long prologue. I mean,
It was.
45 minutes of game time before you actually get into the insane asylum and then coming out of that.
Right.
I like Dr. Death's Head. That was interesting. I think the target still should have been Hitler, though.
Right.
I think it was kind of... I think they should come out with another one.
Or an expansion.
Or an expansion. That would be a good one, like they did with Sniper Elites, the Desert Fox thing. Still hunting down Rommel.
Right.
But I think they should continue on with Hitler.
I think they kind of left that open for that reason.
I think they did too.
I mean, with gaming today, it's a cash cow to make DLC, and it's funny that you have day one DLC with some games, because why was that not bundled with a game then? It's their way of making money. So I could see Hitler as being an add-on, or depending on sales, a sequel.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think.
Well,
I don't think they could justify a sequel.
Without spoilers, I'm sure you guys could figure that out now, what we're implying here. We're not going to say it so you don't hate us, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess, what did you dislike then out of this game?
I disliked the fact that there was no online.
Right.
Absolutely hated that because I pre-ordered that game thinking, hey, there's going to be an awesome online, there's going to be Nazi robots and all this fun stuff that you can mess around with. It'd be almost like a Nazi version of Titanfall.
Right, which would have been phenomenal.
Which would have been a great thing to do for the game instead of just having 2 different campaigns, which brings me to hating the fact that they didn't differ the 2 different timelines from each other.
Right, I was just going to say there weren't really 2 different campaigns.
Yeah,
there was 2 different choices.
Right, 2 different timelines for campaigns, exact same campaign almost, just a different ending cutscene.
Yeah, a couple different cutscenes throughout the game. That was it.
That was pretty much the determining factor. I ended up killing the American guy first just because I liked the Scottish dude.
Right, which, it's so funny. Like, I can't even recall who I killed now. I was so out of it at that time. I'm just like, meh.
It didn't catch my interest at that point. It was like, oh, I'll kill this guy. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
So,
I killed the one on the right, whatever that one was. I
think that was the Scottish dude.
Was it?
Might have been the American dude.
I don't know. I killed one of them, and like you said, it doesn't really affect the game much. And I was just kind of like, oh, I'll play through this again. All right. So the things that I guess I didn't like about the game now were the headquarters parts. There is points in the game where you would progress, have all these awesome shooting elements, these awesome levels to shoot your way through, but then you would reach a lull in the game, which was the headquarters, which were search missions, kind of like
finding the toys or God, what was one of the other ones? Finding something for Jimmy.
Saw.
Yeah.
And it really took me out of the game. I don't know if this was that way for everyone. I'm sure some people liked this. It was kind of like, hey, let's add some RPG elements to it and see what we can do with this game. But for me, Wolfenstein is a shooter. It should be a straight-up action game. I know what I'm getting. It's kind of like Duke Nukem. You know what you're getting. A shooter doesn't take itself seriously, but Wolfenstein obviously does.
And at least in Duke Nukem Forever, it was a straight-up shooter.
Right. You had random things, but
right.
that was Duke Nukem at its class.
Yeah.
Or its core, I should say. So for me, that took it out of the game. There were points that it could take 5 minutes and, up to 20 minutes to do these chores, how I feel. That was really what took me out of the game most. Other than I enjoyed the game, it was a decent story. The cinematics were pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I like some of the cutscenes that they had in there, especially with Dr. Death's Head.
Right. Now, for you, I guess, what would you have liked to have seen out of this game? Like, what were you disappointed in?
One of the things that I noticed in the headquarters was when I walked upstairs, just past the knife throwing, when you walk into the tool shed, if you kept going past that and turned left, across from the bed where you get into the nightmare mode, which for some of you may not know, it's where they take you back to the original graphics, and then you can play the original game style for probably 5-10 minutes maybe.
Just that first level of the game.
Just the first level of the game. But across from that, there was a vent, and you can, with your laser cutter, you cut the chains in the game. Well, that vent had a chain sticking down from it, so instantly I recognized it as, oh, this compound is going to be invaded. I'll probably need to use that as an escape route, and which is exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah,
so that
I
was
noticed
kind of
that too, and I was like, why can't I use my weapons that I just had in here?
Right,
and
exactly.
You were able to throughout the game. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert for everybody
on the screen.
who hasn't played it. That just really set it off for me. I was like, well, they really didn't care too much, it seemed like, about the ending or a surprise in the game.
Well, I mean, for us, we noticed it, but is everyone going to notice it, I wonder?
That's true. That's a good point. Some people may think that it's just something hidden down there and you can only discover it later.
Right.
But I guess for me, it was just an assuming pointer.
Right. I just thought it was an unlockable area or some hidden achievement.
Right.
Which brings me to the next part. Let's talk about achievements for a minute. If you guys know me at all, you know I'm an achievement junkie. I have just reached 109,000 gamer score with Wolfenstein now. And this game really rewards you if you do the things required to do in it.
Yes.
Just by completing missions, you get achievement score. By making the decision, you get one or the other. Second playthrough would grant you the other.
Which is why they kind of offer that second storyline, so you can go back and make the other decision, which was okay, I guess. But you don't realize it until later if you don't look at it first like you do the achievements. Just go on and say, hey, I can get these.
That's what I look for first. And then the other thing was the difficulty, obviously. When you played on Uber, you get the achievements for that. And the rest of the achievements were, as I had mentioned, just by doing things, the perks. So kill 2 enemies with a single grenade. That's an achievement.
That's one. Kill 15 enemies while sliding.
Another
with any
achievement.
gun.
Right.
Get like 30 dual wield kills or
Headshots.
Like yeah.
And they were pretty simple for the most part. I'd say I got 60 to 75% of those, leaving me with 500 something or 600 something and up 1,000 gamers scoring the game, which a single playthrough was pretty good. I'd say.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Right. A second playthrough would obviously grant you the rest of the achievements easily.
Absolutely. If you paid attention to it and were saying, hey, I need to do this.
And that's the thing. I mean, check it out. It's in your menu, too. It tells you exactly what to do when you hit the back button.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess which brings us to a final critique of the game. First off, would you recommend it to someone?
Yes, if they were looking for a decent shooter for a couple hours. I mean, if you're buying it from a company like GameStop, they have their 7-day return policy. I would say check it out from there. Don't buy it new. I don't think it's worth the $60 unless you're a huge Wolfenstein fan.
There you go. Buy it used so you're not stuck with it.
Exactly. I would recommend it. The only thing that I would say about it is watch reviews on it first, because there's things that you will miss if you play it through without doing some research on it, and there's things that you may want to get in that game. There's plentiful ammo in that game, so don't worry about expending it. It's very easy to go through it, very easy to find
I
it.
think I ran out of ammo once in a couple of my guns, and that was it. But then I just switched guns and it was
Demolished
fun.
the rest
It
of
gave
it,
me a chance to use the other guns until I found that other ammo. I was never completely out and worried.
Definitely.
So my reviews are on an out of 10. How would you give this out of 10?
6.5.
6.5 out of 10. You heard it. I would say a 6 or 7. I'll probably go with I'm going to go with yours, 6.5.
Yeah.
Just a solid,
Because it's a decent playthrough, just not something that I would liked to have had in my collection. Unfortunately, I ended up buying it new. But I own it.
Right. It's not glitchy. It's not broken. It works. There's just not a lot of content to the game.
Right.
It's one of those single playthroughs. You get your fix and then you're done.
Right.
So it's a renter or pre-owner. Don't buy. So you heard it from us. For more reviews, definitely subscribe to my page. Tell your friends. Click that little button. Like this if you see us on Facebook. I mean, you know how social media works. So just follow us today and tell your friends. Hope you enjoyed this audio review. Thanks for joining us. All right, so we just went and seen The Purge Anarchy, and it's not called The Purge 2. It's just called The Purge Anarchy, which is weird.
Unless you look it up when you're Googling it.
Right, then it lists as The Purge 2. So let's kick it off, and Jen here. I'm Travis, Jen. And let's just kind of describe the synopsis. How is this? What's the story of what is a purge?
Well, the purge was basically the government decided that we had too much violence going on. So instead of letting everybody get violent every day, they've narrowed it down to 1 day a year.
12 hours to be exact.
12 hours, pretty much all night. Mm-hmm. From sundown to sunup?
7 p.m. to 7 a.m. to be exact.
It almost looked like sundown to sunup.
Pretty much it is.
So basically 1 night a year you get to go off and kill, or also it seemed like you could do whatever you wanted. Like it wasn't exclusive to murder, looting, raping, anything. Whatever.
Free game.
Free game. And all emergency services, the police, fire department were off duty.
I'm going to say just kind of the guidelines. This doesn't really spoil the movie. They have rules. There's certain weapons or things you can't do. So
explosions were one. You could not use explosives.
So there are some rules, even though it's kind of free roam.
But in the first Purge movie, if you're familiar with the franchise, it was situated around a very wealthy family and them getting through the night of the Purge. This one was very different because it was about the lower class citizens getting through the Purge and how completely different the two sides were, which for me made it way more interesting to see them, go helplessly after these people. Like, it was crazy just watching the mayhem ensue.
I feel like the casual viewer could relate better to these characters, even though they weren't the most interesting characters, and you'll see when you see the movie. We could still relate. We didn't have, let's say, for the average viewer, you don't have these high-class mansions, and you don't have the ability to afford these high-tech security systems. Literally, you're using 2x4s to secure yourself.
So it's kind of more intense because that can be easily broken into, and you're not really secure even though you're trying to be.
And the rules seem to say that as long as you stayed inside, you were safe. But that rule didn't completely apply to this movie, which made it way more intense for me, because you think that you're totally safe inside, you're not participating in the purge, and then suddenly the purge just comes and gets you anyways.
Which they foreshadowed, and this is kind of spoilerish. The very first sequence, they used a significant line of dialogue over and over again as they were saying their goodbyes when they were leaving their jobs and whatnot, getting ready for the purge. They would constantly be saying to one another, stay safe. So it seemed to be the theme of this, stay safe, or not. All right, you've heard it. This is the spoiler section. If you want to see this movie and enjoy it, stop watching our video now. You've been warned.
Just go see the movie, and then you can come back and discuss with us what you
Exactly.
enjoyed. Or didn't.
Right.
It's up to you.
So let's talk from the beginning of the film. The Purge picks up 2 hours counting down, 2 hours before the Purge happens. We're in a diner, and we have a couple other characters introduced. They're grocery shopping.
Yeah, they're just having a nice day, apparently, just taking their time before the purge started.
You know, a little drive, downtown LA, like you're not going to get stuck on a highway in LA trying to get home.
Oh, well, they were taking the back roads, because that seemed like a plan.
Yes. And of course, they run into some crazy Slipknot fans.
It had that feel to it.
It did. It seemed like a Slipknot music video, which was pretty cool. But randomly, these guys are already hanging out and intimidating people before the purge happened, which I found kind of weird.
It messed with their car.
They messed with their car, so I wonder what the legal thing is there. They never touched on that in the movie. So their car got disabled. They got stuck downtown. They ended up running into the hero, if you will, the main guy.
Eventually. Well, they kind of jumped into his car.
Right, yeah. They literally ran into him.
But we also had this mom and daughter, duo, and, the mom's a waitress, and she was basically trying to get a raise, and that didn't go so well for her because her father was sick and dying. So the daughter was the one, though, that had all the information about the purge going on. Like, she was following some guy named Carmelo, who seemed to be against the entire purge in general. And he put a lot of stuff into perspective. I liked his stuff a lot. He was talking about how people weren't being religious anymore.
Right.
And they were much more about, praying to guns, basically.
Smith & Wesson specifically is what they said.
Specifically. And how the purge targeted, like, a specific group. They were targeting, people of lower class, and it was basically almost an annihilation for them.
Which led to weird twists in stories. There was some decent, surprising twists. The rich, definitely, much like in real life, ruled the city, or the purge, in other words. They had...
Kind of with an iron fist.
Right. They had underground auctions that we ran into.
So creepy.
Totally twist on the movie. And then the way they sacrificed one of the lead characters was just, I felt, unnecessary and random when he was already injured.
Yeah.
They were just like, we're going to kill him off
We didn't like him
completely.
very much. We're just gonna take this guy out.
And then you had this emotional scene where we're all supposed to feel for him. But in the meantime, you have one faction coming to help them out, and then the other one on the other side of the room. And they're like, what is happening during this
It was a little
sequence?
chaotic.
But there was no gunfire. They were just kind of like waiting for this girl to cry and like be sad and mourn her loss of her almost divorcee.
They were getting separated. That
Yeah.
kept coming up throughout the whole movie, was this couple was getting separated. At first I thought it was strange because he's like, oh, if you say it out loud, it's going to make it real. And I'm like, my first initial thought was that they were pregnant or something.
Right.
And they were like, we can't tell my sister about it. And I was like, what's going on? But we have this guy that's clearly gearing up to go out and kill someone specific. He seems to be like, the dark hero of the movie. He don't really give him a name. I kept calling him like
They didn't give him a
I kept
name.
looking like I kept calling him the Punisher because he reminded me of
Punisher.
the guy from the comic.
They called him Sergeant or something at
At
one
the
point.
end, they called him Sergeant, but for the most part, like, he didn't really have a name. He wasn't gonna give it out. And clearly, like, I knew from the beginning because they kept showing a picture of his son that something had happened, and it looked like he was gonna go after the guy that had done something to his son, which to me seems kind of like okay, like I understand that.
Right.
I feel like that's a good reason to go purging.
Yeah, get revenge. Don't blame you.
Mm-hmm. Especially when the law wasn't on his side about it.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, the guy got off. It was a drunk driving, like basically a hit and run.
Yeah.
The child died. He got off on a technicality.
Whatever that technicality was.
Right. They never explained.
Never
Which,
explained.
yeah, I'd be coming after you too if you did that. So
Right.
Don't do that.
He basically was the only reason that those 4 people survived the entire night. Because they would have been totally lost without him. But, I mean, you needed a hero, but he was sort of the anti-hero because you knew he was going out to kill someone. But for me, one of those scarier moments was when the Ava and Callie, the mom and the daughter, are in their home, their own home where everything's locked up. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know is that their really gross neighbor, who was very drunk, belligerently drunk, forces his way into their apartment and is, going to kill them because, she apparently passed by him every day and didn't give him the time of day.
Yeah, He had other things on his mind, too. He was a sicko.
He was a total sicko. Just that lady wronged me, so I might as well, take her out.
All right, final thoughts. I grade my reviews personally on a 10 scale. I'm going to go ahead and give The Purge Anarchy a 7 out of 10, and here's why. The good parts in the movie, definitely the editing. I just love the overall theme and story, and the way they edited everything together was super solid. And they definitely used GoPros for the mounted motorcycle stuff. They highlighted it more so in the trailer than their actual movie. But when those sequences came with the movie, I was like, this is cool. It highlights like my music video liking styling of cinema verte, I believe that's the technical term for it. The bad, the convoluted storyline that was The Purge. You just don't really ever get a full explanation of what The Purge is in whole.
You got more in this one than you did in the first one, though.
You did, which, they're pacing it because they probably want more movies. So I get it. Don't give it all to me in one movie. But it's keeping me interested, but at the same time it's bad because it's like, is it going to be one of these things that I keep questioning what's going on and then becomes part 7 and I don't want that. So the ugly would have to be the characters themselves. I never fully felt for them. Like, the only one I even slightly cared about was the guy who had lost his son. I wanted him to get revenge. And then, obviously, you wanted the good people that were supposed to live. So I would say that is the ugly. I didn't care about the characters.
Yeah. I would have to say the same. Like, I probably would have given it a 7. I was pretty much entertained. I didn't really feel like there was too much where I was sitting around going, when are we going to get to the next part? I'm really bored. This isn't really how I like things to do. But I was very, into the movie while it was going on. I really liked a lot of the social issues that it brought up that registered within our own time, and this is supposed to take place about 10 years into the future.
Yeah, it's 2023.
Yeah, so I mean, it's everything kind of felt like it could have been feasible for what we have going on now with gun control, with all sorts of stuff, with the way we view the poor. I mean, the scene in the movie where they've got them all lined up in a theater and they're all taking bets on who's going to go and kill them. It was super intense. My stomach was an absolute knots over that. I was just so, sickened by these rich people. And the bad was definitely, the characters, since it was so all over the place and there was so much going on, I didn't feel like you got to really understand the characters. The one character I wanted to know more about was, the freedom fighter guy, basically.
Showcase him more in future movies.
And the black guy from the first movie made an appearance, and they had a really long shot of him. I'm like, wasn't he in the first one?
Yeah, we had to quickly look that up.
I had to look that up. I couldn't remember how he got out of the first one.
He's important. I've seen him.
I couldn't remember how he got out of the first one because I couldn't remember the first one that well. But I did like this one better than the first one because obviously I can't even remember what happened. So.
Well, Ethan Hawke, he died.
I was like, yeah, Ethan Hawke died, didn't he? Yeah. Spoiler for that if you didn't see the first one, but if you didn't, I don't know why you're watching this.
Right.
I definitely see them having another Purge movie with a whole other set of characters.
Oh, yeah.
Just to get down to the bottom of what was going on.
I guarantee we hear an announcement within the next year. Another commencement of the
And we'll
annual Purge.
And I'd probably go see it.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. Hopefully. If not, you probably heard it here second. But check out all our reviews. We are branching out and doing more than just gaming reviews. We're doing media of all sorts and physical books. Those still exist, and we're going to talk about them in future reviews. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, which I believe is, I don't know.
I think it's down.
Is it down?
It's down now.
That way, over here.
Yeah, it's like...
That like button?
Yeah.
Click that thing, share, do all that stuff. So thank you for watching. Any last thoughts?
No.
Cool. Thank you for watching.
Welcome everyone to my review of the Destiny beta, the latest game by Bungie and Activision, possibly the most expensive game ever. Over $500 million is said to have been spent on this. And we get to dive into the beta to see exactly what they've spent it on. Me personally, I'm still trying to figure out how they've spent that much money on what we've been given. But it's a beta. So let me dive into it. So Destiny, obviously, post-apocalyptic future where Earth is pretty much destroyed. The last known survivors of the collapse are still living on Earth. They're the people who have been saved by what is known as the Traveler. It's the white spherical celestial body. That is about it as far as what they've given us, as far as story.
Eyes up, Guardian.
Oh, without diving too much deep into it, which I'll give my final review, obviously when the full game comes out, as far as story goes. Today I'm just going to talk about the gameplay and the graphics. Visually, beautiful game. As you can see here, it looks amazing. This has been recorded on the Xbox One. Both the Xbox One and PS4 look fabulous and brilliant. Gameplay is solid and fun. The beta, they gave you a couple different things to mess around with. You can level your character up to level 8. You get 3 types of characters to choose from, each with their own little perks and powers. Every character has its own skill tree that you get to level up. Beta, you don't get to mess around with that. But you do get to pick from either a Titan, a Hunter, or a Warlock. Here I just leveled up my character level 2. It's going to pop up some of the boosts that I've just acquired. And then when you hit the menu screen, you can actually upgrade those different. So, in the game, you get to, on the beta rather, you get to either do this type of mode, which is PvE, and it's very similar to Mass Effect Borderlands. Then they also have the Crucible, which is the player versus player. And you get to see this here. The mode we got was basically capture checkpoints and hold them down. It was fun, but it reminded me too much of what has already been established out there. It is a combination of Halo and Call of Duty. While that sounds amazing, they're not reinventing the wheel with their player versus player. The intriguing part of the game is the player versus environment. All the things that you collect with your different characters, you get to carry over in select game types online, which bumps up the competition. However, there is also no upgrades and just standard level competitive playing field for those who are not skilled at multiplayer, such as myself. With the beta build, my final thoughts really are, the game is amazing. Things that are awesome is the aspects that it took from successful games like Mass Effect, Halo, and Borderlands. I love anything that's an adventure, shooter, RPG. That is my type of game by far. So instantly I'm drawn to this. My concern is the lack of customization. Is there going to be more options for your character? Are there going to be more weapons? There are questions that need to be answered in the final build. Also, the other thing that concerned me, the lack of split screen. Well, beta is a beta. There was not much available for us to mess around with. Enough to get our hands dirty, or hands and feet wet, if you will. But still left wanting more, and I think that's why they give you a beta. They want you to get excited for it. We're all patiently waiting for 9.9. Thanks for watching. Destiny review. Hey guys, thanks for watching my latest review. This one was on the beta of Destiny. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, definitely make sure you subscribe to my channel and click that like button, share with all your friends. It helps me out and it helps you out. It just helps everyone out so I can keep talking about games, and then you can keep watching me talk about games. How exciting is that? Subscribe. Thank you all. Enjoy Destiny when it comes out.
He drops the elbow. Fallaway slam, my goodness, the strike. Oh my gosh, another one? Is it time already? Oh man!
2K Games, I'm calling you out. Stop putting out shit that is broken. Here's another perfect example besides your My Career mode that constantly crashes. Why doesn't your games fucking work? Fix this or refund me now.
Perfect backbreaker right there. Never ever underestimate the sheer force behind this superstar's punches. Folks, Ultimate Warrior is being controlled now.
We were never more curious about something.
Until we receive this box.
Do not open until November 2015.
What would make us wait so long to find out what's inside? Now is the part where you fancy me mad. Mad with excitement to announce.
We are expecting.
Beats really fast.
It's not to be fast. It's about twice as fast as heart rate.
Yeah, look at the camera.
All right. They're cool.